Welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast with Don and Suzanne Manning. Parents, what if we could give you the power to transform your family into something absolutely amazing?
A family where everyone is healthy, gets along, loves Jesus, and has great purpose in life.
Hey, let us flip your thinking to unlock the power God has given you to create your own Crazy Cool family.
Hey, Crazy Cool Parents, Macy here. I am with my husband, Jared, and my three younger brothers, Michael, Maddox, and McCade. We decided to take the podcast this week, and after celebrating Father's Day with my dad on Sunday, we just kind of started this conversation about dads and what are good qualities in a dad and what are things that, and it was so fun listening to each of my brothers and my husband go around and share like, what are some things they want to do and things they want to have in them as they become dads one day? So I convinced them through hidden bribery, Chick-fil-A, and begging to come and be on a podcast with me and share some of the things that they talked about. And we just hope that wives and moms, that you'd be encouraged by this and that dads, one, share it with as many dads that are out there or men who are going to become dads. And just like that, it would encourage you to be the best dad you could possibly be. So everyone's going to share a little bit. And the first question I have for you guys is, what are some qualities in a good dad?
Yeah, this is Michael. I'm the oldest boy in the family. And I think this question, there's a lot of good qualities, obviously, in a dad. And I think, especially from my dad, our dad, that I saw specifically, is he was always willing to get involved in what we were getting involved in. And so I can think of countless examples, but no matter what sport we were playing or even what game we were playing on our phone or even like Xbox or something like that, he was always willing to just like learn and be a part of it. Yeah. And I think that is just like a crucial quality of a dad is, one, to just be a learner and to like understand and to try to learn, but especially like invest and learn in what your kids are learning in, or like trying to learn in. Because I just remember there's like a lot of really fond memories of him just playing with us in random childhood games like that. And as a kid, it was annoying sometimes at first because he was just like asking basic level questions or whatever like that. But in the long haul, as he stuck with it, I was like, just as he consistently stuck with it, it like grew to be something that we bonded over. Yeah. Even now, like to this time, it's still something we bond over.
Yeah. This is Maddox, the second one of the boys. and I think that like the number one thing that's first popped in my mind was mom and dad's connection and how like a good father has a connection with their wife first. And like I remember having countless issues or conversations and we'll just talk about it together, and dad will allow mom in, or they'll have conversations behind the scenes that they'll mention and talk about. That is really huge. And then the other really important characteristic is that connection, but also that authority. I think that dad did a good job of not being a strict authority, but he was like an awe and reverence of how incredible he is as a dad, because he does so much that we don't notice. And so whenever mom would like point out or notice something, I would really like value it, and it made him respect him, not because he's angry or wrathful, but because he does so much behind the scenes and in front of the play.
Hi, I'm McCade. I am the third boy. My thing is dad was just like always the best example of my life. I mean, everything I looked to him that he just did with like almost perfect thing that I could think of. I mean, even with the study and relationship with the Lord, then I just always could look with him. He was always spending time with like the Lord. He always had his time, so it wasn't a thing just like trying to drill us into it. It was more of just like a lead by example. And so you would just see him doing everything he did, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing, man. I want to do like what he is doing. And so it was just amazing to see that every day of just him doing the things that I wanted to be whenever I was older.
That's cool. Yeah, this is Jared, Macy's husband. One thing, just like witnessing my dad as I was growing up that I feel like he did really well was just put others before him. Whether it was like a stranger, like in a grocery store, or like our waiter at a restaurant, he just like loved people very well. He was always in a good mood, smiling, trying to make other people laugh, especially if they were especially if they were having a bad day. So I just like loved that about my dad, especially growing up as a pretty shy kid. It kind of like brought me out of my own bubble to see the way he interacted with strangers. And also he even put like our family before him. Growing up, he worked shift work at a power plant, so I know that wasn't like the easiest job for him to have, and like being away from the family. But he did it in order to provide like a good life for me and my brother and our mom.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I love that. And I love the different perspectives about dads. That's one of my favorite reasons why Jared jumped in on this podcast, because like everybody has a dad, whether he's involved in your life or not. He's influencing you, and like kids really are watching what their dads do. And like McCade said, like they look up to their dad for better or for worse, like the positives and the negatives. And so really quick, I just am curious, you can talk about your dad, you can just talk about dads in general. What are some things that maybe you've picked up or you've seen from your dad or dads that you don't necessarily value or honor or respect? Like, what are some things you think maybe pull the relationship from a kid to a dad apart a little bit?
Yeah, I think a few things that I can see is, and I think it even hopefully doesn't rat dad out, but dad had this in the very beginning, like playing baseball, growing up with playing sports and stuff like that. There's just like an anger that comes out, definitely intensity, and just like that a 5-year-old kid cannot catch a baseball. Like, there's just naturally like frustration or disappointment or just expectations, maybe unreal expectations that I see that I felt were placed on me a little bit. And then growing up, I can definitely see a lot of dads place that on their kids. And it could be in everything. I've just noticed it the majority of the time in the sports world, just like a lot of pressure. And it's just like, one, you can't play a sport like that. Like you can't play a sport with like having that much pressure on you. That does not help you play at all. And then two, I think it damages the relationship. I think it damages and it hurts the kids' confidence and esteem and just like the way that they carry themselves with a baseball hat on or not, like in a baseball uniform or not. And so I think that's something that I've seen and that I want whenever I'm a father, hopefully to be able to navigate that area just with grace and truth, and realizing that the performance of my kid is not who he is like at all.
Right.
Well, and just to kind of add on to that, I remember specifically when I would have a bad game as a kid or even in middle school, even in high school, I would avoid going home in the car with dad.
I would go with mom's car.
I would go in mom's car. Like even if there was a screaming baby in the car seat, I would pick to go in mom's car, because oftentimes, and parents hear this, especially if you have like an emotional little kid or a kid that has like really big feelings, like they're kicking themselves and they're beating themselves up 100 times in their head, and they're disappointed and they're sad. And so if you as a parent, especially as a dad, if your kid gets in the car with you and they're like, why didn't you catch this? Or what were you thinking? Like, why weren't you paying attention? It's like, that kid's already doing that in their head. They need an encourager. They need like a supporter. They need someone who's like, hey, I know that was a really tough game, but like we have another one next Tuesday. Let's shake it off. Let's go practice. Let's do something together to hone in on our skills. And so just to encourage you parents, like if you identified with what Michael said and you were kind of like, ooh, I totally do that at games. I get way too into the, T-ball. Just like flip your thinking and start seeing yourself as an encourager and someone who gets to help your kids through that like emotional state instead of add to it or make it worse. Honestly, it's really good.
Yeah. I love that. And I completely agree. There's just power in connection and a good connection. And so I think that that's one of the main things I've noticed is that like how much people are children look up to their father is just absolutely insane. Like I have so many friends that I'm like, oh, why are you interested in that music? It's because my dad listened to it. Or how do you even know that person or that movie? It's because my dad listened to it. And so it's things like that where the small influences are huge, and like whatever the dad is interested in, the kid will find a way to be interested in it just to connect usually. And so just finding that connection and being like a father but also a best friend, I think is really, really valuable. I think that that's what has changed a lot of my friends' lives, and even my life, is just doing things together and being close and having that close relationship with your father, which is like not everybody has. And so
Yeah, I think something that can kind of push kids away from their dad too is just like the lack of being open and like honest with their kids, or like being willing to talk about like deep things.
yeah, that's good.
I feel like a lot of dads will kind of put that on the mom to get in the weeds when it comes to like if a kid comes home with like from an emotional day at school or some like processing something hard, they kind of like lean that onto the mom.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful to like have a dad that will speak into that and to hear like your identity from your dad, or to be encouraged by your dad. So I think that sometimes is lacking in a family.
I think it's really powerful to have a dad that like has more opportunities for kid to create opportunity. I feel like it's like really hard if you like shut them down and say like, hey, we're doing maybe this like one sport, we're only doing this one activity, we're only doing this one thing. Shuts down their open like ideas for brainstorming, trying to do the things that they love. And so they're not really gonna like branch out and find anything. So then later on in life that you stuck them into this one thing, then they're not gonna love it later on. And so they end up just getting stuck in this thing that they spent 10 years on, and they don't really want to do it. And so they weren't able to branch out into things that they might have loved more. So it's just like giving them room for opportunity as they were kids to see the different things, and they can try different things if they want to.
Love it. Those are all helpful things. And just, again, to encourage parents, if you're like, ooh, I do that, or ooh, yeah, I totally have done that, just change your thinking. Like, there's so much space and there's so much time to grow. It's one of my favorite things my parents say is like, you only get so many years with your kids under your roof. Like, make them count. Start today, making them count. And so just encouraging you parents, this is not like ooh, you do that, awkward, we're judging you through the microphones. You know, that's not our heart at all. We just want to make you aware, like your kids are watching and they see you. And so like steward your family unto the Lord. It's important. Okay, last question as we wrap this up is, when we were sitting at the table, we were celebrating my dad on Sunday for Father's Day, and it just this question kind of just bubbled up of like, well, what kind of dad are you going to be one day? Like, are you going to be the cool dad, the chill dad? Are you going to be the super intense at the baseball field dad? Like, it's fun to hear young men, and especially my brothers, like people I've gotten to watch grow up, and now my husband too, I'm getting to learn more about every day. Is like, watching them dream about being a dad is just really inspiring. And it's really cool to think that like one day all four of these men are going to grow up and have little mini me's or little girl versions, you know, and you're going to...
We got a while.
You do. You're such a cake. You've got a while. But I just kind of want to hear a little bit about like, what are you dreaming about when it comes to being a dad? What kind of dad do you want to be? And maybe are you doing anything, or are you praying anything? I don't know. Is there anything you're doing practically to kind of prepare yourself to be that dad?
Yeah, the number one thing is that connection, like I was talking about earlier. Like, I just cannot wait to share and experience my life with somebody else, you know, and to have that personally day to day. Like, that's just kind of the connection that, I don't know, I just think it's going to be so much fun. I think it's going to be an absolute blast to have that daily interaction and to get to know them and what they like. And I think that they're going to get to know me and what I like, and just have that personal interaction.
They're going to love you.
I think it's going to be so much fun. That's actually like a couple thoughts that I've had recently. I've been like, wow, I cannot wait to play basketball and like teach him how to shoot. I think that's going to be so much fun. And he's going to be good. or yes, and they will. That's a good point. But that they will like, they won't necessarily have to play basketball, but they're like, that's something that we can
But they
share.
will. I pray.
And so that kind of connection, yeah, I'm really looking forward to have and to influence somebody like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of been said already throughout our conversation so far, but like how important it is to be an example for your kid.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest thing that McCade touched on here. How their dad was just like such a great example in like all aspects of his life. But one thing for me, I just really want to be like a great like spiritual example for my kids. I want them to wake up in the morning and see me like reading the Bible, hear me praying out loud, praying with them, not being afraid to like lift my hands in worship when we're in church, just like showing them what it looks like to be a man of God. Yeah, I just think that would be so powerful. And of course, teaching them how to shoot a basketball as well. It definitely goes far. Yeah, try new foods. But yeah, just showing them like how to be a man of God, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, definitely. I think I can agree with like all those, especially the shooting the basketball part.
We love basketball.
We love basketball. But yeah, I think that that's probably one of the things I pray the most often is for my like, future family, for my wife, for my kids, mainly for health reasons, but also that my wife and I can like walk in patience. That's like the second thing that I pray the most. Patience, that we don't get frustrated, or patience that we don't get like angry or upset, and just like having I don't know. I just think like unreal expectations of a 5-year-old. I don't know why that's like, maybe it's a wound in my heart or something, because that's like what I think about the most often. But like even noticing that even with like my little brothers and seeing that too, and trying to work through that of like, okay, well, when my kids get here, how can I walk with grace? How can I walk with truth? How can I walk in still with like correction and authority, but also be their friend? And like balancing that line, because it's hard. You don't want to be a pushover parent, but you also don't want to be like the strict where they don't want to come to you and talk about anything. And I think that's something our dad has done really good about, is just like, we mess up all the time, like all the time, do stupid things all the time. And dad very rarely gets angry, especially as we've gotten older.
Right.
And it's more of a, okay, Michael, like what was your thought process in that situation? And that's just like, I'm like, I don't know what my thought process was, Dad, but that's a good question. I don't think I was thinking. But I want to be a parent that approaches stuff like that with hard issues with my kids and not just pop off, but like walk in grace and truth and see if I can correct, but also being loving and kind and generous and gracious.
Yeah, so good.
I am 15. I haven't thought that much about it. I mean, I would love to lead by example. It's a long way for me to be a parent. I would. I mean, it's a really hard to balance. I mean, it's probably one of the hardest things of jobs to be a father, to balance everything, to be raising a child. It's far away from me, but I think it's super valuable, and I would love to be just like a little bit of almost everything they have said, but just like be reliable, always be there for them, and not just be like the bum pushover dad that is just like, he basically hates them. And so it's like, I want my kid to look up to me and be able to come to me whenever they have their problems, and so I can be another accountable person if they ever do need to go into the rough parts of life.
Awesome. So good. Well, as everyone was sharing, I just like something was happening in my heart. I was getting excited. I was picturing little curly-headed mini Kate and little curly-headed mini Michael and little blue-eyed mini Jared, and your hair's just normal, straight, nothings. All the little mini me's, and I just got this idea of like, wow, how cool would it be if moms and dads, and here's my challenge for you as we close out today, what if you just spent a little bit of time with your kids and dream with them about what kind of parents they want to be? Like, ask your little boy. He might only be 3, or he might be 6, or he might be, like Kate said, 15. And they may have never thought about what it looks like to be a parent. They might not even dream about it or think about it or even know that that's a desire that God's put in their heart. And so our challenge for you as we wrap up is dream with your kids about what it looks like to be a good parent. And if you're really bold, ask them, hey, what kind of parent do you think I am? Ask them these questions. Like, what are some qualities that make up a good mom or a good dad? What are some things that I do that aren't the most loving or don't bring the most connection? Like, have a real conversation with your kids, because just like my brothers and my husband, they have opinions. They have thoughts. They have thoughts and answers to these questions. And the last thing is, if you're in a place as a dad, if you're a dad listening to this, or if you shared this with someone, we just encourage you that prayer is so powerful. Yeah. And if you don't feel like you are where you want to be, or you feel like there's more, like Michael was talking about, that grace and mercy to not pop off at your kids, like, there's so much more that God has for you. And that's just what I wrote down as we close out, that like, God is the best father. Like, God is the perfect example of what a good dad is. And so go to him. Like, wake up in the morning and talk to him and say, God, I just want to be a good parent today. I just want to be a good mom or a good dad. Help me, lead me, guide me. For sure. Like, Psalms 139 is something our church just read together recently. And that very last verse is just so powerful. It's so humbling of like, God, search me and know my heart and lead me. Like, show me how to walk in an everlasting and an eternal way. Because parents, at the end of the day, like, what you're doing in your family is eternal. You are creating generations of sons and daughters of the kingdom of God. And it is, like Cade said, it's one of the hardest and one of the most valuable jobs in the whole world. So we just encourage you, and we believe in you. And so thank you, brothers and husband, for being a part of this. We hope you enjoyed it. Please share it on social media, share it with people. We just believe this message is important. And then go have that conversation with your kiddos. And we just love you guys, and we're so thankful you listened. Go be crazy, crazycoolfamily.com.